Hi everyone, Shannon here with Mixed Media Minnesota. I want to welcome you to my channel and welcome to all our new subscribers. I hope you find inspiration from my channel. And sorry I haven't been here for a few days. The next couple weeks I'm really busy, so I'm just going to try and get on as often as I can to make a video for you. I hope you'll stick with me. I will be back as soon as things slow down here. So let's just get to it. My next project that I'm planning is I'm doing a journal with all Tim Holtz papers and ephemera and that kind of thing. And so I seen a video, I believe it was Cori Dahmens. I'll link her in the description. Anyways, she was creating ephemera with the Tim Holtz paper packs. And in the Tim Holtz paper packs, I have one here. They have like the 3x4 inch squares, you know, some of the paper pack here, and some of them are like 2x2, and then there's the 6x6 ones, and I never really know what to do with those pages. So I seen that video and I was really inspired to come up with some ephemera using those pages. So I went ahead and I'm trying to create things out of those. So I started with these are the 3x4 inch grid. It's a 12x12 sheet, but there's, what is there, 12 of them. So there's 12 this size. And so they work really good for journal cards, smaller journal cards. If you stitch around and decorate, you can do that with them too. But I was using these and I come up with one sheet of paper. I did 3 pieces of ephemera. So I'm just going to show you what I made, and then we're going to try and recreate those. I'm not going to stitch on camera, so some of them will just get to that point. I'm not going to decorate them on camera. You'll kind of see what I'm doing with it, and you can decorate them anyway. I'm just using Tim Holtz ephemera. But the first piece I did, it's like a matchbook thing here, and this is created from, I already pre-cut this into the sections that I'm going to need. So this piece of ephemera here is created with these two. So this one is, I have the little staples in the bottom and it catches in there. So I used the tiny attacher and stapled it, and I just put some cheesecloth and one of his butterflies, and then I used some of the paper cutoffs, and then this is out of his, I think, thrift shop ephemera set maybe. I'm not sure exactly what set they're from, but they're Tim Holtz. I did use some labels from a digital set. I'll also put, I don't remember the name, I think it was Tracy Fox, and I'll put that in the description as well for some of the labels you'll see. But here I just used those two, and I scored it and folded this end up, and then I put 2 score lines in here so that you would get the the edge up here, so it fits in here without buckling too bad. And then I just used some of my scraps, some of my coffee dyed scraps, and I just kind of made a little notepad, and I stapled it on the bottom here. So you could rip these out or just, journal in there or whatever. And you could dress this up a lot more if you wanted to. You could put something in the inside. I didn't. I may go ahead and do that when I use it in my journal later. And it just pops back in there like that. So that's the first piece I made, and I made that with those 2 pieces. Okay, the second piece that I did is like a little book, and I made this one, you can clip it in, but I didn't decorate the back because I'm just gonna glue this in on a page. And so then it goes, let's see, make sure you can see here. So the front of it is, let's see, this sheet up here, I used this section for the little booklet, or the little flip, and then I used this one for pockets in there, and I used this one to make tags. So actually with this one, I believe it's all 3 of these pieces I used, and I did have a little bit of scraps left from that that I used on some other things. So I just put some coffee dyed cheesecloth on there and a butterfly, and I thought that was nice for the cover. So then this one is going to be glued down like this. I'll say it's glued on my hand. And then we go ahead and it flips open. And I just did some coffee dyed music paper, and I did coffee dyed paper, and then I just used one of those little labels that I was telling you about that I bought. It's a specimen set. I think it was Tracy Fox. And then I did cut this edge, so this edge of this one, a little bit so it's shorter than the score line in here, so it closes up nice. Okay, then that one flips again. And then on the inside here, I used this one, and I used this side and then this side for pockets in there. So there's a pocket, and I stitched around these and decorated them. And then I used, let's see, this one for the tags. So I just cut the little tags to fit in there, and I didn't decorate them because they're cute enough the way they are. I did punch a hole in and put some eyelash trim. I used black soot. Can't really see it, but it's Ranger's Distress Oxide Black Soot for all the distressing on these. And so I may go and put some coffee dyed paper on the back, but you could journal on it, you know, with a black pen or something. So that's a pocket there. And then down here I used a little piece of this scrap, and I just did a zigzag stitch across some lace. And this is like a little pocket in a pocket. So there's a couple little pieces of ephemera in there. And then in the middle I used one, I just again made a little notepad with some coffee dyed scraps, and I just used a cutoff and I just used the tiny attacher and I stapled it together. And then I didn't staple all the way through it because I didn't want the staples on the cover, so then I did use Fabri-Tac and glue the notepad in. And then on this side the same thing, I got a pocket here, and this I just used some of the scraps and coffee dyed and ephemera to decorate it. Again, we have another one of the little tags, and this one is a little tight in here. Hope I didn't glue it in there. No, okay. I might have to trim this one down a little bit. But again, that's just the paper made in a tag shape with some eyelash trim on the top. Yeah, that one's a little bit snug, so I think my glue smeared on the inside. Okay, so then the back is going to be, you know, glued down, so it folds up like that. So it could be on a page. You could pin it in with an embellished paper clip or something too. So that was with those. And then the last piece that I made a pocket, and I made a little notebook. So with the pocket here, I used, let me see, this one. And this one is upside down on the back, but I intended to glue this in or glue it on the two sides for a tuck spot so you wouldn't see the back anyways. And then what I did is I just folded this up. So it made this pocket, and I cut the little thumb divot out of there. This is another one of those labels, and this is just a scrap piece of paper. And I did leave this open so I could put something in there. You wouldn't have to, you could glue it. So that's the pocket, and I used this one. And then I made a little notebook out of this one, and all I did is I just folded it in half, and then I rounded the corners on it like a little notebook. And I just have cheesecloth and a butterfly here and one of the labels. And when I glue my butterflies down, I just glue them in the center so their wings are still kind of free. I did use Tim Holtz's fabric washi tape on the spine of this little booklet, simply because I sewed the pages in. So I just have coffee dyed in different pages in here, and I just stitched it right down the middle. So I didn't want it to rip, that's why I added the fabric washi on the back. So that is your little book. And you could put a pocket in here or something. I didn't, but you could. And I thought it was really cute in the little pocket. So, and like I said, I would maybe glue on these two sides, and then we could tuck a journal card in the back or some paper or something. So I have those done. So let's go ahead and start. I'm not sure if we're going to get them all done. I'm not going to sew. My sewing machine's on the other side of my studio, and so I don't want to run over there, and I don't like to edit my videos, as you guys know. So I'm just going to set these aside, and I believe we're going to start with this one. So I'm going to set these aside so I don't get myself confused. And I hope I can explain it well enough. I did not take notes, so I'm just going to be referring back to the one that I created. Okay, so the first thing that I need to do is, my paper is obviously directional, so I wanted to use this. Okay, and this, it was not. This I cut off here. I said it was from a ephemera pack. It's not. I cut it off of the bottom of this. So I can see that I'm going to have to cut that off first. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off, and that is about, I would say that's a half an inch I'm cutting off the bottom. Okay, so we're going to set that aside because we're going to use that as our decoration on there. Okay, so, and then I believe I scored, okay, so I scored, I just have this little scoreboard here. I kind of eyeballed this. I know I put a score line on the, you can see the line you know, the divide in the two prints on this. So I did do it on that one. So we're gonna go ahead and, okay, let's see. I'm gonna flip this over, and the line's in the same spot. So we're gonna go ahead and score right there. And then I need to look at this for a second here. I did a 1/4 inch for the lip that I have stapled. So I'm gonna do that right away on here too. And I'm pretty sure that was a 1/4 inch, or let's see, maybe I better measure it or I'll tell you wrong. A 1/2 inch. So a 1/2 inch on the bottom to fold up. That's gonna make our little, where we staple on the bottom. So, okay, and then, let's see here. I know I had this folded over so that I can tell how far I need to. And I really, because I trimmed part of that off, I really wouldn't have to. You just need it to be, well, I guess I do, because you need this to be able to close when your staples are in there. It's only gonna be, I hope you can see that. It's only gonna be caught by 1/2 of it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add another score line on this side. And I'm just gonna eyeball that and go from my last fold, maybe, let's see, a 1/4 inch. Okay, so, and I'm just gonna fold that over as well. Okay, so that's gonna create that little top openings. See how we have that in there? That's creating that. Okay, so now what we're gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna ink it all, and I'm using Black Soot Distress Oxide again, and I'm just gonna ink around the whole thing, and I'll try and be quick here. I know this is boring for you guys. So if you had a plain piece of paper without, you know, already divided, if you have a 12 by 12 inch piece of paper, what you could do is cut it apart, you know, in sections, like, you know, it's 3 inches this way and 4 inches this way. So if you know, you can section it out, so you don't have to have the paper that's already, you know, portioned out like that. It's probably easier using this kind of paper. It's a little less brain work, maybe. It's easier for me because I can visually see it. I'm gonna go ahead and ink the inside of this as well. I'm gonna ink these up in the inside as well, the little folds. Okay, so, and I went ahead and I don't measure these by ruler. I just kind of hold my papers in there and cut them. And I do like to stagger them so that you can see the multiple different papers in there. You could go ahead and ink the edges. I don't on these usually. But what I'm gonna do then is I'm gonna line this up in my fold in the bottom, and I'm centering it from side to side. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the bottom. And then I see my top is a little crooked here, so I'm just gonna move it over. Just trying to get the same distance on this side and this side. It's not that big of a deal if it's a little bit off. And then I went ahead and I just used my Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher. Any stapler will do. You could stitch it, you can glue it, it's totally up to you. And then I just went and I did 2 of them. And now remember, you're gonna wanna staple it not way up on the top because you need that little pocket created. So I would say almost halfway up, and I just put 2 staples in there. And that's gonna leave you that little edge there so that when you fold this over, it'll slide behind there. Once you do it a couple times, it's easier, you know, it'll go in and out of there easier. So there we have our little matchbook. And then I'm not gonna decorate on here, but I'm gonna keep this with it. You can see I used this part, and then on the back this part was cut off, and I just put that on coffee dyed paper, and I did put a little stitch in the corner. I have some coffee dyed cheesecloth behind it, and then a little bit of thread, I just glue back there in a butterfly. So I'm not going to decorate that, but there is that one, and that's what it'll look like when it's finished. And you can put more or less. This one has a little bit more paper in it than this one does. That's completely up to you. You can pack it in there. Okay, so that's piece one. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's create this one. Let's see. Okay, so the pocket here is this piece. So I'm going to set that aside so I don't accidentally cut that. And I just kind of eyeballed this with the size of the tag, as you know, I didn't want it sticking up above it. And then when I stitched around it ended up being a little shorter anyways. But let's see, I will tell you the measurements here in a second. I scored it at 4 1/4. So we're going to grab this score pad thing, and I'm going to go 4 1/4 would be from this side. So here's 4 1/4. So go ahead and make that score line and fold that up. And you can make these any size you want. Like the side, you know, it's horizontal versus vertical, the 3x4 on this one. So then what I did is I just have a 1 1/4 hole punch, and I just eyeball this, and I just put a little divot in there and pop that right out of there. Trying to get it in the center, not always. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ink this, and I'm not going to finish this one because I need to stitch around it. I like the stitching. I think it adds a lot to it. You don't have to do that though. You can glue it, and that's just fine too. And I did not ink the back of this one because, again, like I said, I'm going to have it made as a tuck spot. So, but I want to make sure before I glue or sew it that I ink the pocket and everything. Okay, so there we have our pocket. We'll come back and put this scrap on there. But so that one is there. Okay, so now we have this piece that, this is going to be the front cover of it. So I just score this again, and you can fold it. You don't have to use a score pad. I don't know what you call it, scoreboard, I guess. And yeah, this one is right on the line, so it's kind of, I'm gonna go back here. Okay, and then I just fold that over, and I'm going to give that a good one. Then, okay, I'm going to punch the corners on this because I want it to look like a little notebook. And I have 2 thicknesses in here, so it's probably not the smartest thing for me to do. I probably should do them individually. My punch probably doesn't like that very well, probably. Okay, so I'm going to add, let's see here, I'm going to add some of the fabric washi tape. And you can use actual fabric for this and glue it with Fabri-Tac. You can use washi tape. Really, it's up to you. You don't even have to do it. I think it looks cute on there, and then I wasn't so worried when I went to stitch, you know, with the sewing machine and stitch in the little mini signature that we put in there. And I always make the mistake when I'm doing this of cutting that and not leaving myself a tab, and I struggle to get this fabric tape off of the sticker back. You would think I would learn. I do it, and then the next time, you know, I cut the edge and leave it, and then the next time I go back and I cut it off without thinking, like I just did right there. And obviously the time before, because I can't get it. Okay. I absolutely love this fabric washi tape. It's very sticky. You can glue it, but I'm going to have a stitch down this anyways, so I'm not worried about it. Okay, so I'm just lining it up and pulling it, trying to center it over my score line, and then I just rub that on there. And then what I do is I just trim off if there's a little extra. I don't want to fold it over on this because this is small and it'll give me the bulk inside. You could do it on both sides. On the bigger journals I've used this. I've done it on both sides. You know, put the fabric washi on the inside and the outside. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rub that down again so that gets so we still have the good fold. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and ink this again using the Ranger Black Soot Distress Oxide. I absolutely love the black soot with the Tim Holtz Paper pack. I love this one actually for sure. And this one is the Wallflower paper pack. So I went ahead and I bought myself a pretty good supply of his paper because I heard he was discontinuing them and I was in shock. And so I ordered myself, like I said, enough. But I don't know if you can ever have enough. You know, I kind of hoard it. I can't do that. I have to use the stuff up, but I have certain things that it's hard for me to use up. So this time I'm trying to start. I started with the very back pages and I'm like, I'm going to use them. So hopefully that all goes well for me. I'm not going to decorate the front right now. You can see again, I just used the cheesecloth. And what I like to do when I use the cheesecloth is I'll take my Fabri-Tac and I just put a really thin, like squiggly line of it. I cut the cheesecloth bigger, lay it on there, and I just kind of go like this and squish it in the Fabri-Tac. And that way you kind of get that loose, but yet it's down kind of look. So I'm not going to decorate this. And I'm not going to stitch the little signature in. You guys know how to do that. I just cut paper, you know, and I do like a little bit of different width on them so you can kind of see them when you open it. And I just set them in there and I simply stitched up and down it. You could, you know, sew it in like you would a normal journal. You could tie around this to keep it in there. Then you can take these pages in and out or add more to it. So this is our little booklet then. So I'm going to set that there. And this will be our little booklet here. And you see how that will seat down in there. And this here extra little piece that I put on here, I believe it's from the next piece. I used scrap on that. So we'll have that to put on there as well. Okay, so there's piece number 2. And now number 3. And this is the one that confuses me a little bit. There's a lot more to this one. So we'll see if I can reduplicate it. I know this was our tags. Before I say I know, I better check. Okay, so this one is right here. And oh boy, I'm wrong. Okay, yes, the back. Okay, I was confused. I was like, where'd that go? So I used this one for this tag and then this one for this tag. And then I had the cutoff on this one is what I put this little strip on here with. Okay, so the tags we're going to set aside for right now. And we are just going to work on this. And this one is for the pocket, so I'm going to set that aside as well. Okay, so I like this for the front. I thought that was neat. And then also, let's see. If you guys can hear that, I have baby chicks and they're in my studio bathroom right now under a heat lamp because it's too cold to put them outside. And as I told you before, we're pouring cement tomorrow, actually, on Friday. And so I don't want to have them in the garage when the garage door's going to be open and closed. And our cat would have a field day, so they're in here for now. So if you hear them peeping in there, they're talking to me. Okay, back to it here. This one I cut off, like I said, about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the fold. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to score it first. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to score it right on the line, so this one will be at 3. This one is going to be my back, so that goes over. Okay, and then this one here is going to fold in. So this is the one I need to cut 1/8 of an inch off. I'm going to do that before I score this. So I'm just, actually, let's see here. I'm going to go 1/8 of an inch, and I'm just going to trim that off. Okay. So we're going to go ahead. I have to think now. Okay, so I'm just going to hold this on here and get it in a line. Again, though, it would be on 3 inches from the last one. You could do this, you know, the measurements don't really matter because you could do this any way you want to. Any size works. However you want to do it, you could do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press that down on there. So now this is our back, and this is our front. Okay, so the front cover we're not going to decorate now. So I'm going to flip it in here. And the inside here, I'm not going to decorate this one either. I will go ahead and do the label and some coffee dyed paper glued in there for journaling. So I'm just going to leave that one because there is no building of it. It's just decorating. Okay, so we flip this open, and in here we are going to make our pockets. And what I did is I took this 3x4 inch extra piece here, and I just simply cut it in half. So 2 inches I cut it at. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that in half. Okay, so now I have 2 pockets here, and I used, let's see, what did I use? I used this one here, and then I used this one on this side here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put those together so I can get my little thumb pocket divot in the same spot. And I'm just going to eyeball this and kind of try and center it, and I'm just going to pop that out of there like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and ink these, and this is where I would take these and I would stitch them. I would stitch around them, and it's just stitched around them for decoration reasons because I did then go and glue them in. I didn't want the stitching to go through onto the other sides. Okay, so get this one inked up here. Okay, and you could flip them either which way. If you prefer this way or that way, it really doesn't make a difference. Okay, I'm not going to sew these. I do want to sew these, but I'm not going to go stitch them right now. So these are going to go right here and right here, okay? And I made a mistake here because I did trim this down. So how did I do that? I had these trimmed, and now after I punched it, it's going to be a little off. So we're going to have to take a little bit off each side. Okay, so make sure you measure first. Hold it up there and see. I'm just going to go ahead and take a smidge, not much at all, off of each side to try and keep that little thumb pocket area, you know, in the same distance from both sides is what I'm trying to say, I guess. Okay, so here we go, taking it off the other side. Okay, now we have to ink those edges up that we just retrimmed. Okay, much better. Okay, yep. Okay, so we'll have the pockets, and then this little piece that I cut off, I just leave that because then when I make my little notepad in here, which I'm not going to make either, you guys know how to do that, I just use this on the top and I put 2 staples in it. This isn't the same one. I should have taken it off of there. I mean, I don't have to. It's not a big deal, but this one is when I trimmed it. But then I'll just hold that over the top of it and staple it in there and then glue it in there. Okay, so now our tags, I just went ahead and I cut these in half. And I didn't measure these. I just kind of hold it up to it, and I know I want it to fit in my pocket, and I'm going to have stitching and glue. So I think I took 1 inch off of it. So I'm going to make this 2 inches. But first, I am going to take the top off, about 1/2 inch off the top. And I just know that I did that because, hold on here, I can't think and look at the same time. 1/2 inch, I think is what it was. Yeah. 1/2 inch is gonna, yes, so 1/2 inch off. And then I have, well, I must have done more than 1/2 inch last time. But like I said, measuring doesn't really matter. I am gonna cut this to 2 inches now here. Okay, so that's gonna give us our tag in there. And then I just cut one side, you know, make it in the tag shape. And then you got your tag in there. And then I'll just punch a hole in it, and I'll just use some, I have this interesting multicolored, it's variant like eyelash trim. So I really like that for the little ones. And I just use my crocodile and the littlest punch and put the hole in there. Okay, so I'm gonna do the same thing over here, saving all the scraps for decorating. Okay, so on this one, let's see here, I have, how did I cut, I'm going to make it to 2 inches here first. but I gotta go this way because I want the flowers on there. Okay, so then we're gonna have our tag in there. So I'm going to cut this to the same size as this one. Do you guys measure like I do? You just hold things together and whatever else? I don't like measuring. So I don't have to, and I can just hold something to it and trim it, and it looks good to me. Okay, so there are our tags, and we'll cut this one and punch it as well. We'll add our notepad in the middle. And this is going to be the back that glues down. So actually this one folds in on itself like that and decorate the front. And there is the piece, you guys. I think that, yeah, right here. There's the piece that goes on here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put that with this one. So when I sew around it, I don't forget to put that on there. Okay, and here is our pieces for this. So, let's see, where's my original ones? So out of one sheet of paper, a little bit of ephemera, and some cheesecloth, basically, and coffee dyed paper, we ended up with 3 pieces of ephemera. And then the little matchbook one, the notes in there. And then the pocket tuck spot with the little notebook. And I've never done it before where I stitched it in. And I'll tell you what, when you're doing a little one like this, like there's only 3 pieces of paper in here, so 6 pages or whatever. But it works slick. Like it's so, and I think it's cute too. So that's definitely how I'm gonna be doing those from now on. And it's quick. Okay, so there we did those 3. I hope you guys really enjoyed this. Let me know if you would like me to do some more things like this. If you enjoyed it or not, I don't know. I did, and I'm excited to get a stash built up. So when we're doing our Tim Holtz book, we have all kinds of ephemera already made. And I like when I have that when I'm doing a journal because I get bored with things. So if I could do a little project like this at a time, I don't get bored with it. And then when it's time, when the journal's all put together and the fun part is done, then you can start decorating with your already pre-made ephemera, which I absolutely love. That is definitely the way that I like to do it. Okay, so I just wanted to thank you guys for being here. I hope you enjoyed that. I know I'm just blabbing here, but I feel like I miss you guys. I haven't been on for a while. I know it's going to be... the next couple weeks I'm going to be so busy, but I will try. I didn't forget about you guys. If I'm not here, just know I will be back. I appreciate you guys. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And wish me luck on all my things I got going on. I'll see the end of this pretty soon. You guys have a great day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.